So, hey, Will, do you want to kind of introduce everybody to Icosa, Hedron, kind of what's going on with that? Because I know you really fucks with them quite a bit. So,
Yeah, so the elevator pitch for icosahedron is it is a protocol that is built on top of rewarding hex stakers and giving people who want to stake hex more options than just the native hex staking contract. The first coin to come out was Hedron, if I am not mistaken, and it's essentially minted for free. Well, not for free. In order to obtain Hedron without trading for it or paying for it with cold hard cash and swapping and everything, you have to have a hex stake. For every T share of hex stake that you have, every day you are minted 1,000 Hedron tokens. I believe is the or no, maybe it's every B share. Every B share is one Hedron. Yeah, so and don't worry about the math. The point is you get free Hedron from having a hex stake, right? So you can either, if you have a massive hex stake that is for a very long time, you can mint yourself Hedron once every day for the entire duration of the hex stake, or you can just mint it all at the very end. But if you do not mint the Hedron at the end of the hex stake and you end the hex stake, then you don't get no Hedron.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Yes.
You said that you can mint the Hedron daily, and does it go off of the amount, the length, or just strictly off of T shares?
It is off of T shares. So every T share that every T share that you own, I'm almost 100% positive that it's every T share you own gets you 1,000 Hedron for every
something like that.
Oh, it's
unless it's like every single day. Unless it's like every single day.
Yeah, I think every single day you get 1,000. Like so whatever your T share rate is. So let's say you've got fucking 2 T shares. So every day you should be getting 2,000 Hedron inside that in that hex stake minted, and then if you have like a fucking 100 T shares, then every day you get 100,000 Hedron minted, etc., etc. So that's how you can get Hedron natively without just like going to a DEX and swapping for it. I don't think it's currently offered on any centralized exchanges. I know that you can get it from Uniswap, you can get it from the Coinbase wallet DEX, you can get it from all sorts of places. But that is what Hedron is. That's how you can get it without buying it. Currently, it's on the Ethereum protocol. It's like $3 or $4 to mint Hedron. So, like, unless you have tens of millions of Hedron, it is not efficient for you to mint Hedron every day on Ethereum, unless you just really, really like the coin and you're really, really long on Hedron against Ethereum. But minting on Ethereum costs you about $3 to $4, roughly. Minting on Plusechain costs, like pennies. So if you want to mint your Hedron every day on Plusechain, it's also Hedron is more valuable on Plusechain as of right now. Who knows what it's going to be in the long run, but Hedron on Plusechain is more valuable and it's cheaper to mint. So if you have hex stakes and you want to get lots of Hedron, then Plusechain is the way to go.
I have a theory about that too. It's going to, in my opinion, stay cheaper on the Pulse side, because think about it. If you're doing something like Hex, it's a yearly stake. You know what? If I got to pay a high Ethereum fee, so be it. But if you're minting Hedron every day, think about the gas fees.
Yeah. Yeah, so like there's the only advantage. So there's a couple ways that you can do it. If you want to mint your Hedron every day, you get smaller amounts of it daily, or you can just wait for a big long chunk of it to appear and then you can mint it all at once. And at that point, you're saving like gas fee monies, but you're trading time in order to get that savings. So it just depends on what you value more. If you want your Hedron now in small chunks, then you can pay the fucking cheap ass little gas fee and get it, or you can wait a long time and mint it and get it. The difference in the minting fees of like as time lengthens out isn't really all that, like it's not that crazy. So like it's not exponentially more or even linearly like crazy linearly more to mint, a 100-day Hedron, 100 days worth of Hedron versus like 1 day's worth of Hedron. There's not a whole lot of difference either on Ethereum or on Plusechain.
Okay.
But that is essentially how Hedron works. Now, what you can do with Hedron is you can, with the token itself, you can use it to buy HSIs, which is a function of the Hedron protocol. So HSI is a Hex stake instance. So it's essentially just, you can stake Hex natively on the Hex website, or you can go to the Icosa dApp, the Hedron Icosa dApp that Alex made, and you can create a Hex stake that is wrapped in a contract. So that way the contract owns the Hex stake and you own the contract. So like your wallet on the native Hex, so it puts another layer of trustless ownership in between you and your Hex stake. However, it allows you to do things with your Hex stake that you can't do on the native Hex staking process. So with Richard Hart's like go.hex.com website, you just go there, you stake your Hex, and it's stuck on that wallet. You can't do anything with it. It can't move. All that you can do is like start it and stop it. You know, that's essentially it. And you know, you can watch it generate value and accrue and everything, and you can do little math and stuff, but you can't send it out. You can't put that Hex stake to work for you. With the Hedron, with the Icosa Hedron functionality, you can create an HSI, and then you can borrow against that HSI. You can send that HSI somewhere else. So if you want to borrow against your HSI that you have created, essentially what you do is you front run the entire amount. You front run. So let's say you made a Quattro Cinco stake in Hex. You front run that entire 5,555 days worth of Hedron minting, and you get it all at once. And then your Hex stake and so you get all that Hedron, and then you could go spend that Hedron on hookers and cocaine and blow or whatever you needed the money for at the time, right? So if you need money and you don't want to get rid of your Hex stake, you can borrow against it at, like, I think it's a 1.5% APR that you have to pay it back at, and I think it's like monthly. You just pay off the entirety of the Hedron that you borrow over however long it takes for you to pay it off. As long as you're making monthly payments, then you're in the clear. But if you stop making monthly payments against the loan that you take out against your own asset, then after 3 months of inactivity and not paying back the loan, then the HSI gets sent off to the auctioning place, which is where other people are like, oh, hey, this asshole, he borrowed against his Hex stake and he didn't pay it back. And so now we get to buy it for whatever the minimum amount of the auction is, whatever the amount is that he borrowed. So we'll say for the sake of incorrect math and numbers, that the dude borrowed, like, he had 1,000 Hex staked out for Quattro Cinco days, and that yielded him 1 million Hedron, right? Those numbers are totally fake, right? But if he borrowed 1,000 Hex and he had it staked off and he got 1 million Hedron, the opening bid for that auction would be 1 million Hedron. So whatever the person borrows that they don't pay back, that's the opening bid. Whenever somebody opens a bid on the Icosa Hedron auction block, then that bid is live for 24 hours, right? A person or anybody really has the option to buy that or outbid other people to buy that HSI stake, that 1,000 Hex that's staked out for 5,555 days. They have the option to buy that essentially at dimes on the dollar, because whenever you borrow Hedron against your Hex stake, it's pretty much like somewhere between like a 1% to like 0.1% or like 0.000% of what the actual cost of the Hex stake was. So, if you want to buy 1,000 Hex, like, let's say it costs you $10, you can only borrow like $1 or 10 cents or whatever against that, and like that's the amount of Hedron that will be minted over the entirety of your Hex stake if you front run it and then borrow against that front run. So whoever wants to buy your $10 Hex stake that's staked out for 15 years, they just start the auction by paying that minimum amount that you borrowed. Let's say it's 10 cents, right? They start this auction for 10 cents, and let's say nobody bids against them. They end up winning a $10 Hex stake for 10 cents. And this is what Billy and Nate and I talk about frequently, and I think Tracker 2 talk about in the chats, is like these HSI auctions, man. Like, and I think they added a little column that shows you like what percentage of a deal that you're getting based on today's like prices right now. Let's say you didn't even buy Hedron at today's price. Let's say you bought it when it was fucking dirt cheap, you know, when it was way lower than it is now, which isn't a whole lot, like, because we're basically at the very bottom of the charts. But let's say that, you know, you buy a fuck ton of Hedron right now, you wait 5 months when the price of Hedron starts skyrocketing, and then you're able to buy incredibly expensive hex stakes because you have a whole bunch of Hedron saved up from, you know, when we were in crap, or you have a whole bunch of Hedron saved up because you've been minting your Hedron daily from all your hex stakes that you have. Now, Hedron is an inflationary token. It is just created out of thin air by anybody that has a hex stake. So it's going, like, there's always going to be more of it. But the way that that Hedron is disposed of is in these HSI auctions. So half of the Hedron from every single auction is burnt away and gone forever, right? So whenever somebody opens up an auction, they put in that first bid, the Hedron is pulled out of their wallet. Whenever somebody outbids them, the Hedron's put back into their wallet, and the new bidder is the guy who's going to pay for it whenever the auction finally ends. After the auction ends, half of that Hedron is burnt forever. The other half of that Hedron is split up and distributed to all the people that own Watsas, that own that have Icosa staked, and yeah, Watsa and Icosa staked. Those are the people that get Hedron, or that's what happens to the Hedron after the auction. So half of it's burned,
and that's
and half
why
of it's distributed to stakers.
And that's exactly why when you do go to stake your Hedron, you want to make sure that you have your Hedron and Icosa actually staked during these auctions, right? Because the auctions tend to come in like swarms, right? Kind of like, bam, big amounts, and then so yeah, you end up with a really high APRs ultimately from just that. And then of course there's a lull mean time, you know, between these, but yeah, it's a really fun sort of deal. Personally, I really like them. Now, when we were looking at pucks, right? See, I think I would rather, instead of taking everything that I have, especially with all my money printers, and this is what I call them as money printers because they just keep rehypothecating into themselves, and we'll get into those strategical details later on at a different video, different time. But I think I would much rather keep it on this system here than going over into Fux, right? And just having them sit there for that and then receiving Fux, the incentive token, instead of getting more Icosa. I want more Icosa specifically. And right now I'm sitting at, what is it? I think it's 1,500 liquid Icosa because I I just went over here and realized that one of my it's payday, guys. It's payday. Apparently, one of my printers is up. I got to pull out my Icosas now, my Hedron stakes and Icosa stake, and yeah, go have some sushi maybe or something like that.
So one thing I want to mention with Icosa staking, and I'm not sure if this is true, this is just a theory of mine, something I've noticed, is that the size of the stake necessary in order for you to have the size of the stake increases linearly as more coins are created and passed out as a reward for staking. So when you stake Icosa, you earn Icosa, and as you earn Icosa, there is more Icosa that exists in the world, in the ecosystem, right? So as that all happens, in order for you to create a similarly sized stake in the future, you now have to add that same amount of Icosa or Hedron to the amount that you already have staked. So I'm not sure if rehypothecating is profitable or if it's essentially just maintaining the level that you already have, because I don't know if you're given more stake points from the or well, I guess you would be given more stake points.
Yeah.
But
so here's the way that works. Actually, so you're correct, and I see where you're going with it, right? I myself started thinking about that, but then it's like, okay, so here we have the days, right? Okay, so an Icosa stake, right? You're looking for about 90 days. Okay, 90 days. I think it was you had a maximum.
And the percentages are identical, like irrespective of how long your stake is. The percentage of the cut that you receive, if you stake 20 versus if you stake 200, you're still going to get the exact same percentage cut of your maximum number, right? It's not like larger stakes give you, I mean, they give you more, but they don't give you a higher percentage, right? Or do they?
No, I think they do.
Okay.
If I'm remembering that correctly.
I might try it. I might
No.
do like a 10 Icosa stake, a 100 Icosa stake, and a 1,000 Icosa stake, just to kind of get some numbers from that, because that's something I've been curious about for a while.
Yeah, so you get higher amounts, but here, yeah, so it's not the actual APR amounts, percentages.
Yeah, the
Because
APR
those
is
are
the
gonna change.
same.
Yeah, those are gonna stay the same. The difference
Mhm.
is in the amounts that you actually have, right? So
Yeah.
in the amounts that you actually have, that's what's going to get you more yield, right? Obviously,
Mhm.
because you have more of it. But enable the drawback is enable for you to get a whole lot. Now you have to stake it guaranteed for more days, and that's where the drawback
Yes.
comes in. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, and so that's why I like to sit on like 90 days, the kind of like the minimum where you still get a good amount, right?
Yeah.
Especially in Ethereum where it's like it's kind of tough. So basically, yeah. So when it comes to that, right? Um, it used to be like 232 Icosa was maximum for a 90-day stake. Then after that, it skipped it up to 180, and that's how it goes. 90, 180, 227 or something like that, and then 365, right? A full year.
Mhm.
So yeah, ultimately, what ended up happening now is I think it's at 894 or something like that, is maximum for a 90-day stake, and that's because there's more liquidity now, right? More
Yeah.
people have
I'm
done some more
pulling it up
liquidity.
right now. I'll have a quick answer for you here in a
Mhm.
second.
And so, yeah, what I ended up doing was in rehypothecating, every single time I'm taking it out on payday, I put it right back in. And especially when it made that huge skip from like 230 something to like 800 and whatever, I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, well, I'm missing a lot of Icosa now in my money printer. So what is it that I can do now, right? Well, I'll take all the amounts out and I'll put them right back in,
Uh-huh. And then it just gets bigger. I wonder if so. The next time you do it, I want you to, if you wouldn't mind doing this for me, so we could do a little research here. Pay attention to the stake points that you have. So like
Yes.
when you pull
Stake
out
points
your,
are endpoints. So
yeah,
when it comes to
does
Icosa, endpoints are the maximum.
yeah, does that increase when you rehypothecate, or does it say this? So like if you were to, let's say you had 1,000 Icosa staked and you had earned 100 yield, and it gave you 100 M points or whatever, right? When you pull out that 1,000 plus that 100 and
Oh,
then you
no, it does not.
restake it,
It does
what's that?
not. They always stay the same. So they're always going to stay the same as far as the points go. Here's the deal, though. There is no
Hmm.
T shares or T points, right? There's no T points currently in Icosa because it's just there's not enough liquidity yet. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the thing. Right now we're at M points. We're at million points, right?
Hmm.
When it comes to 90-day stakes, we haven't even gotten to B stakes, the billion points, right? But yeah, we haven't even gotten to billion yet. This is so those are going to continue to go up. The amount, so the amount of Icosa it takes to hit 180-day stake is gonna keep going up like this, right? But
Yeah.
the points are gonna stay that way. However many you're putting in there, the points are gonna stay that way,
Hmm.
right? And it's just gonna
Oh
get harder and
shit.
harder. Yeah.
It's
Yep.
actually
So
960 is the
960.
960 is the break point for Dolphin. So 180 stake. If you stake 959 Icosa, then you are at a 90-day stake. So yeah, the number increases like very, very quickly. So let's see. So turtle is, well, up to 96. So if you stake 95, then you remain a turtle. Squid, and so that's a 30-day stake. Squid is a 90-day stake. That's anywhere between 96 Icosa and 960. And then after that is dolphin, so that's 960 all the way up to 9,500. And then essentially 10 grand, right? Is shark status.
So I'm multi squid at that point.
Yeah, so you can check these numbers out at hexmodel.com. That's the website I like to use. Also, I've signed up for Dev Huey's. Dev Huey is the one who made hexmodel.com. He also offers a proprietary, like he does more information faster and better, and way more thorough on his little thing. You can hit him up on Twitter to get access to that stuff. But yeah, is a great website, hexmodel.com. It tells you the shark, whale, dolphin, squid, turtle, all the class sizes, the sizes that you need to, or the amount of Hedron and Icosa that you need to stake in order to be at those levels. Most people in Icosa are whales, sharks, and dolphins. There's actually more whales than there are sharks. There's more sharks than there are dolphins. But wait, no, just kidding. Just kidding. I was reading the wrong chart there. I was like, there's no fucking way there's more whales than there are sharks and dolphins. Yeah, so 42% of the Icosa population is dolphin, 39% is a squid, 12% is a shark, whales are 2%, and then turtles are 3%. So pretty much everybody exists in the squid, dolphin, shark level. And so that when I say people, I mean wallets, right? So there's a lot of people with like what you do, Nate, where you have just like a fucking bunch of wallets set up that are a bunch of different ladders. And so a lot of, because you can only have one stake per wallet, there's a lot of people with the short stakes, or there's not a lot of people with the short stakes, the 30 days. There are a ton of people with the 90s and the 180s and the 720s.
Big stakes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
All
then
right, so that's that.
Hedron is way different.
Again, we will go into strategies, specific strategies. There really is a cool way that you can deal with these and get all that. But I know like Billy, he just got done getting, what was it, like 55 T shares of Hex because he was going after a ham wild with his Hedron. And here's the thing too, they're adding in now where you can vote. You can vote or bid via using Icosa now as well. So it's not just Hedron.
Yes.
Icosa is going to get the same thing. So Icosa is also known as one of these incentive tokens, right? But what have we learned about incentive tokens so far? And all these different ecosystems, these incentive tokens, ultimately, what ends up happening is that they quite frankly go. It's like they start here and then they go down, right? But a lot of people keep thinking, because it's an incentive to sell to yield and then sell the token into the token you actually want, right? People keep thinking that it's like it just keeps going down, but eventually these things like voting power and all that pop up. In this case, Icosa is you can get the more Hex by voting, not voting, getting into an auction to be able to receive more. It's just going to make the coin go up, right? So I think people need to stop sleeping on these incentive tokens. Make sure that there's something happening with them. Obviously, like I think it's just important.
Hey guys, just to jump in there, Billy also got that great snag on a really good rate because he was ahead of the crowd. He got in on a Thursday, knowing that the weekend was going to be heavy stacked with all the HSIs coming out. So he was able to jump ahead of everybody and got that really nice swap. By jumping in a little earlier, that was good. Hey, real quickly, where's the link that shows the sea creatures rankings? I'd like to see that if you guys could post.
So that is who's got the screen right now? It's hexmodel.com, and then you go to the Icosa tab. Yeah.
Icosa tab.
All
right, here, let me work my magic here as soon as I can pop this up. Just give me a second. There we go.
Yep. And then Icosa in the top center.
Icosa right here. Icosa staking, Hex model.
Yep. Okay, yeah. I can barely see. You're on my my phone screen right now.
Oh.
Yeah, once that chart right there loads up, it will tell you, and it usually takes a minute or two to load up, but it'll tell you all the information you need to know. Yeah, that's the one I'm checking out all the time. That shit is that is one of the most useful things when it comes to total numbers and trying to compare yourself against the crowd.
Half of this is Hedron.
Very nice.
Yeah. Right here it tells you right specifically minimum staking length, right? Maximum staking length. Stakers. Yeah, I'm at least 1/6 of all that. You know me, I like having money pressures around. I just keep going with them.
So one thing to think about with
I hear ya.
Icosa is Icosa's liquidity is pretty damn small, at least on Ethereum. I'm not sure what it's. I've got it pulled up on, or this is Icosa over Hex on Uniswap.
Oh, I can
That's not
vouch
the
for
one
it.
I want.
Icosa is extremely low liquidity on Pulsechain
Yeah.
as
So
well.
so
Mhm.
having a shit ton of Icosa is cool in theory, but like, what can you do with it? Well, if you have a whole bunch of Icosa and you have like no way to get out of it, you can be like, oh, well, I'm going to be a liquidity provider. And then you can throw in all your liquidity, wait for the prices to fluctuate. If they do, you know, earn your yields, earn your stuff. And then if it ever goes in the direction you want it to go, then you can pull your liquidity, having suffered impermanent loss in one direction or the other, whichever asset you're trying to get to. And that's a way that you can affect, like, sort of, kind of get your money out of the Icosa system. But I remember, like, there was a while back where it was like the liquidity was just fucking shot on Icosa, and I put a fucking nice big old candle on the chart one day. That felt pretty cool. See a little see
You
a little
broke it.
candle. Yeah, I broke the chart. I remember
This
I
is
was
my
looking at
candle.
the transaction before I clicked like send on the transaction on Uniswap. I was like, oh fuck, that's 25% slippage. I'm gonna change that
Oh,
number real quick. And so or no, it wasn't 25. It was like 10 or something. But I was like, oh shit.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not about to do that game. So I did like smaller transactions, and I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking neat.
You talking about swapping between E and P Icosa?
No, this was months ago, I think before Pulsechain even came out. It was like Icosa USDC or something.
Oh, I was just gonna,
Silly.
I was just gonna
But
say, if you do swap trading ratio between P and E Icosa, you see people getting wrecked with the slippage all the time, and if you're closely watching it,
oh yeah.
you can capitalize very well on it when they make those mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that chart reading and understanding, like watching the 1 second and the 1 minute charts would be very valuable in the because it's like, what, you trade a couple hundred Icosa and anything more than that and people start getting fucked, right? I think I saw that that was being described in the chat earlier, something along those lines.
hmm
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, Tracker, why don't you go into that, because I know that you're doing something pretty crazy as far as the ratio swapping. So let's go ahead and just give a little bit of alpha on that.
I'd love to learn. Yeah.
So when you're swapping Icosa and P, and sorry guys, I'm doing some degenerate shit too while I'm talking to you guys too.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm going into, I'm doing some of these liquidity farms right now that we were just talking about. So
That's
just
funny.
doing some, just doing some stuff. If I get wrecked, I'll definitely let everybody know. But if it pays out, it's got a high risk, high risk. Oh well, high ROI, meaning the risk reward is worth it, and it's very high. And I did just
Agreed.
give everybody an update. I did take all my incentive tokens that I had. I put it into that one pool to gain those coins off of Chirp, and then move it in some other things. And I'll take that and swap it. We'll get into the other. I won't go down a rabbit hole, but basically, yeah, I'm doing a lot of degenerate stuff that we'll share later. All right. So anyhow, just to get back to the ratio swapping. All right, cool. So on the ratio swapping, you got to be looking at, let's see here, Icosa and Piacosa. So the transaction amounts, if you're going to swap between these two, are going to be very, very critical. Meaning you can't get in there and start. You can't swap a lot like you talked about. You're going to get crazy. You're going to get destroyed on the slippage because their liquidity is so small against these pairs. If you're going to go from P to E, you need to do 300 per transaction. And if you're going to go from E to P, you probably want to stick around 400 per transaction. That seems to be the sweet spot right now that I'm finding. And if you look at the chart, Icosa to Piacosa, and I can show you that right now here. I can shoot you the pair, and you can see how this thing really, really jumps around a lot. And you've gotten some major swings recently. Let me shoot that to you. You can open that up on deck screen or the link I gave you. And then what you can see is that I was trading out this thing like crazy, and it was just jumping all over the place. Like every 2 or 3 days, you'd get these massive swings going from ratio. I look at the one. So when I look at it, I click on that ellipsis in the top right-hand corner next to where it says Icosa Ethereum. Click on those 3 dots to the right of it. Keep going all the way over. Yeah, invert pair. I look at it this way because this is how many Icosa you'll get per Piacosa. you're going to have to expand it. Drop this to the 15-minute chart. If you're going to be doing this, you're going to be looking at 15-minute charts. This is, I mean, you want to get, you want to get into DGen plays. This is DGen. So,
Oh my God.
so you need to expand it even more. Yeah, really stretch that out.
Yeah,
And
holy
what you're
crap.
seeing is how you get these massive swings, and you can see your range. Your range was in there really nicely, and then all of a sudden it dropped out, where all of a sudden Icosa got more valuable. But then I was telling people a couple of days ago in our chat, hey, look out for the Icosa. It's a great buy right now, and there it was. It had just started moving out, but it found nice little support there. Now she's worked its way all the way back up over the last 2 days. So you could have bought in around one. You could have got one point. We'll say 1.4 would have been a legitimate swap, and right now it's at 1.8. So just over a day or two. But like I said, you got to be really careful. This is where wells will get destroyed. So this is really for just small little guys playing around. But you can get in here. Same thing for Icosa. I mean, for the Hedron pairs as well. That's also low liquidity. But you can definitely look at these, and you can definitely ratio trade. And I've been doing this pretty well. I made quite a bit doing this. But like I said, could you get swung in one way? Sure. I was doing it, and we got swung hard on a Hedron. Went hard one direction because of the auctions, which I was able to capitalize. I did tell everybody to watch it out because it had been building up momentum, and then it did that breakout, beautiful breakout to the upside. Now it's starting to pull back some. It's starting to stabilize between Icosa, Icosa. But I mean, for Hedron, sorry, that big move was in Hedron because of the HSI stake auctions that you guys were just talking about. It's what caused the price to swing heavy more towards the P Hedron side. But for Icosa here, this seems to be a good little, if you want to get into ratio trading, this is a good little area to do ratio trading. But like I said, be careful on those transactions you're going to do. Keep it to 300 to 400 E to P when you're doing your transaction rates.
How do you flip the? I'm still learning how to use. I see that my chart is upside down from yours. How do I flip
Right.
it?
So, well, you go to those little dots where it says
By the eyeball?
Icosa.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't see. I can't
Here,
see those.
here, Will.
Yeah.
It's like this.
Okay.
See, it's
Yep.
that's right here.
Right there.
Do it
It's
like
right there.
that.
Okay.
Now, when
Got
you
it.
invert
Invert
some of
pair.
these, now the other thing to keep in mind when you're doing these pairs, a lot of times they'll show it in the denominations that your trading pairs are, or you can switch it into the stable coin to see the actual value. This one doesn't provide that, but most coins do, and it'll be towards the middle of the screen when you want to flip. Now, when you're doing these ratio trades, it seems like the 15-minute chart seems to be the best. You can also put alerts on Deck Screener on the app and give you alerts on your phone when these things swap. I would also highly recommend you guys taking screenshots. I'm sorry. Let me give you a screenshot and I can show you kind of what I'm talking about here. Let me do this real quick. See if I can share this. Let me see. I'm not trying to get into sharing, but I'll just share the screenshot because you guys, it'd be easier for me to show you what it would look like.
Oh man, I'm just looking at that massive spike at the very beginning of the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Is that
You
when
see if
everyone
this
was
will
selling all their Wattses and shit?
All right, well, let me show you. But what I was getting at, when you're doing these, what I like to do is I put a line across the top portion of the channel and on the bottom chart, and then maybe in the middle, and I literally write on there, this level is when you want to swap Icosa into Icosa. You literally write it on the screen like this because you're going to get, if you're jumping around from things, it keeps you from doing stupid. So when you see something, like, oh crap, something just happened, I need to take action. What do I do? Well, you wrote a note to yourself saying, hey, you're going to swap it for this if it gets to this level. So then you just take action. You get it? So like that bottom, at the very, very bottom there, towards the bottom channel, you would go E, you would swap E into P. If it gets to the top of the channel, you swap P into E. So that's what you're doing. You literally write that out there on your screen to keep you honest, because I've got many different charts where I'll follow. And when something happens, I get alert. All right, cool. I don't want to sit there and like double guess myself. You know, like, damn, am I going P to E, E to P? You can get really twisted on this bag, especially there was weeks ago when things were popping off every 2 hours, and you can get just spun up real quick. So you've got to put those idiot guides out there for you, because you're giving yourself notes. Because when you're really looking at it and studying the chart, forgetting it all right. Okay, cool. Go ahead and make yourself some notes while it's fresh in your brain, so you don't get destroyed. And then
So you're talking about kind of like this, right, Tracker?
Yeah, and I'd put another. I would put another one down at that bottom one too. I'd put another one down at that bottom channel.
Yeah.
Yep, I would go down there where that last little dip went. I'd line it up right with that last dip we just had, and I would go down there, and that's kind of your area, like your extreme end. And Now you got levels. Now you would say, okay, the two bottom ones, I would go E into P, and the top one, I'd go P into E. Now, don't get me wrong, you could have a ratio just run away from you like it did between E hex and P hex. I still made good swaps on it, but it did run away, which was fine. I still made out like a bandit. But give yourself notes here. And the other thing I'd be looking at, click on that indicator, the FX indicator right there in the middle of towards the top. Click on that. And you're going to add some things there. Put in RSI. There's your relative strength indicator. Click on it. Go up there to go back to where you just were. Put in MACD, MAD, or MACD. There you go. Put that one. That's another great indicator you're gonna watch. No, not that one. MACD, the one below it. That's fine. Keep that one. And then put Bollinger Bands. Put a BOL, and Bollinger Bands should pop up. Click on your Bollinger Bands, and then do one more. Type in volume. This is more extreme degen day trading. Click on volume profile visible range. Okay, hit X on that. Now what you're going to do is take those, see all those trades at the bottom, take that and collapse that thing. Put your cursor right on the top of that bar and move that thing all the way down. I don't care about that. Do the next thing with RSI, find the middle, pull it down some, and do the same thing with the MACD so you can see a little bit more what's going on the chart. Now you can zoom out on the chart, and what that did is the volume you're seeing here is how much volume you have at these price levels. So what you can do too is switch this to a day chart instead of a 1 day chart. Took a day. Okay. Now you can see here, this is all the Icosa, P-Icosa and all. You can see how it just plunged in day one, right? So you can see a lot of people who are in Icosa, they're underwater is what this is telling you. A lot of people who had P-Icosa are way underwater because this is where most of the trading's been happening. You can tell there's like no volume down here. All the volume's been trapped at the top. Scroll up to the top of the chart if you can kind of move away. Like there you go. Keep going. See how the volumes are just still stuck up there?
Oh, yeah.
All of those volumes are where everybody was getting most of their stuff stuck at. So they're way up there and now they're underwater. So everybody who was holding P-Icosa got really trapped hard because they're way down here. So that tells you a lot of trading's happening way down here at the bottom because most people are forgetting about Icosa because they got absolutely destroyed on the Icosa trade. So people that are sitting in all this P-Icosa or whatever they're sitting in, those were so much at a higher rate. They would have to have P-Icosa come all the way back for them to make it worth their while swapping out of it. So that's another reason why I think this is holding up pretty well over long term. You're kind of seeing the same thing with Hedron too.
What's the yellow thing you got on your chart, Nate?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That yellow on the chart, that's the volume. One is representing the volume of either buys and blue is representing the volume, I think, of sell and buy and sells at that rate. So that's the activity you're seeing at that volume pair right now. And like I said, all the volume is all the way above. Nothing's down here at the bottom. This is the bottom of the volume pair that you're seeing here. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everyone's trapped. Everyone's stuck holding either E or P. I don't know which one. I'm assuming P. They're stuck at the very top, and they're holding all this Icosa. A lot of people are not talking about Icosa because they're probably underwater dramatically. Is what it tells me.
It's time to buy Icosa.
Boy, what a nerd.
Fuck him. Yeah. I wish there was more liquidity, man. That's my main sadness with the Icosa.
Sadness activate.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, so this is like that ratio trading we're talking about. Like this is to me the ultimate degen. I mean, this is degen city here because you can't be coming in here. You got to be nimble, and you're seeing these trades pattern. Just give you an idea. I mean, I was able to probably somewhere around 3.5x within just a couple weeks of my Icosa bags just by trading ratios here. But you can still get caught on the wrong side, but that's okay. I mean, you can always, if the ratios run away with it, you could always rotate out of something into another coin. But going back to what you guys were originally saying, Hedron and Icosa have very low liquidities. So you got to be careful when you're swapping trading. So when you're going on to Pulsex doing your swap trades, put in how much you can get for one P or E Icosa versus the other pair and see what it gives you. That's your starting indicator. And the more you swap amounts, you're going to see that ratio go down. So double check that before you start making your swaps. Else you're going to think you're getting a great deal and you're getting destroyed in actuality. And that's where you get to these massive spikes. Like I've seen monster spikes on here. These look small because the chart's not real blown up, but these little spikes are actually pretty big. I I mean, think about that. That drop right there, that big red drop, somebody got destroyed on liquidity. That's exactly what that means. Somebody went in there like, okay, I'm going to trade this, and bam, like, what happened? And it went from 1.7 to 1.3. I mean, that's a monster move.
That's funny. All right. So yeah, you know what? Here's the deal. Like, for real, guys. Like, I'm not even joking. You need to pay somebody and able to actually get this kind of information. This is just pure fucking alpha at this point. And like that stuff is fucking insane, man. And I mean, we like literally live doing it right here, doing this recording. We found Chirp, and now we're gonna go jump into Chirp, right? And it's like, you did it on stream, for Pete's sakes, and Tracker, you're doing it on stream right now, right? It's like, yeah, guys, get involved in our Telegram. Hey, ask us questions, man, because we do this on a daily, literally. And when you're in there, you're not alone. You know, you're just gonna be sucking in all this alpha, and there's gonna be so many things. A Tracker has actually gotten me where like I come back after a hard day's work, and all of a sudden Tracker's like, hey guys, you might want to be switching some of this around. And I'm like, oh, let me go look at that real quick. I'm like, oh shit. I just got home. Let me switch, make some switches. Right. We had Ben and Pepe. God, what was that? It was like 2 weeks ago now. And that was all on Jay, right? Jay, and I think it was Malik, right? You guys were, or they were talking about, hey, we got to make a switch like right now. It's time to switch it. And I looked, and yeah, we all sold at the top, and then I ended up, I put in a million. Yeah, it was a million pulse. I ended up getting basically like 4 million out of it overall. Like, that was a hell of a deal for me, and I'll take that every single day. And it was only like, you only had to wait like 4 days on that one. I'll take that every single day. So yeah, guys, we really need to, you need to get involved with our Telegram, be part of the conversation, you know, ask us questions, you know, keep us good and sharp, right? Give us questions that maybe we've never heard before. Maybe we got to go do some research on, right? Like, this stuff is just quite amazing. So
I have earned 3.5 chirp in the amount of time since I told you I started it. So that's 14 cents so far.
Going to the moon.
Yeah, off of a $100 on each side of the little farm. So 14 cents in
Are you able
30
to pull
minutes.
those out? Are you able to pull them out?
Well,
okay, so you've tested
I don't know.
that, right?
I have no idea, actually. I haven't tested that yet. Let me harvest my chirp. Harvest time.
Look, live example right here. This is hilarious.
Well, sort of live, recorded anyways.
Yeah, it's recorded, but like where we are recording it right now, this is 100% live for us. And then everyone watching gets to watch the recording of us being live here.
Unstake maximum. Confirm. Yes, it is allowing me to do it. So I'm not going to go through with the transaction, but yeah, it is possible. You know what? Fuck it, I'm going to go through with it. Why not? 2 cents.
Here's what I'm going to say on all this. These are early. Only put in what you think you're willing. Like, if this were to get destroyed and rugged, you're okay. It's not going to kill you. But just we're giving you guys other options you can do. But once again, what's your appetite risk? I always come back and say this. If any trade or anything you're in does not have you sleeping well at night, you need to make adjustments. That's telling you, that's you yourself telling you, I cannot take this. It's literally destroying my life. You need to step away. You can't, I cannot stress that enough. Now, as the longer you're in crypto, the more and more you just become numb to everything. You just become
like a heroin addict.
You do. You come numb to so much stuff because but like I said, that's the easiest way I can put it, because anything that's destroying your health is not worth a good investment. So stay in the safe areas if you feel like it. If you want to dive into some of these degenerate plays, start with a little bit. Just play around, get comfortable with it. And then the other thing is, if you're going to get into some of these that are really high APRs like we're doing here, get into it, but then maybe take half out in a couple of weeks. If it's still doing well, take maybe half out. Just, hey, you're good. Now you're letting the rest just ride. If it rugs or something goes wrong, no big deal. And to be careful here, I'm not trying to talk shit about Chirp. I'm not saying it will rug you by any stretch of the imagination, but you don't know. Anything's possible in crypto. So you don't, even though you could be with somebody, hell, Richard Hart could rug us if he wanted to. Now, do I think so? Now, could he? Yeah.
Satoshi moves that million coins.
He's got a huge track record. Now, this goes back to understanding the ecosystems and the founders of your area. Richard Hart's made it very clear. He's in it for the glory. He
Mhm.
has money. Why would he destroy it and get vilified and become the worst person in the world after everything he's been fighting for? And if anybody doesn't understand how Richard Hart, where he got this passion and just wants to just take over crypto, go back and watch when he got rugged by Mt. Gox and he was
Oh,
being
yeah.
interviewed by somebody. He was literally he was in tears almost on that stream. You could see in his face he was just boiling over about how pissed he was about this. He was destroyed on camera. So if you want to know where this passion came from, I think it started right then and there. That's when it started for him. And he made it a journey to take over the entire crypto world because he got disgusted by what's going on. So that's my 2 cents on that rant.
Hey,
Yep,
you know,
yep.
I like that. You know, I'm willing to put my money into a founder who is so prideful that as soon as he got fucking destroyed, and he got so entirely angry that he's like, you know what, I'm so prideful and I'm going to be the king of the cryptoverse, right? I'm going to go out and I don't care what it takes. I don't care if I'm a billionaire or not. I'm going to spend every last penny on making sure that this happens. You know, I'll put my money into somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? There's some good trust there.
You can always count on people serving their own self-interests. Human nature doesn't change in that regard.
100,
And
100.
if we're correct about what Richard's self-interests are, then hey, we can ride the fucking fancy fun boat with him. And if we're wrong, well then, you know, I guess we pay the price.
Well, then just go back to work and get some more money, I guess. Do it again.
Exactly.
That's how
Gentlemen,
it
I
goes.
gotta go. I'm meeting up with a friend here. It's been nice doing this little chittery chat with you, but I will see you all next time.
Right on.
Goodbye,
See you
Will.
later, Will.
Good guys. Appreciate it.
Yep.
So, all right, so that's Plusechain, right? Plusechain, Icosa, Hedron, large ecosystem. We absolutely love it. It's really good. It's brand new, man. There's a lot of new things happening with it. There's a lot of money to be made. It's one of the reasons why this episode is quite a bit longer than our other ones because of how new it is, right? When it comes to especially when it comes to say Binance and all that, it's been around for a while. You know, it's been around a while enough where we know where the rugs are. We know what's good, and you want to kind of sit in very certain spots that's in safety because again, it's older, right? And so you know where the dangerous spots are and where the good spots are.
Yeah.
So, but this is brand new. You know, this is brand new. We got a bit of a lot of new stuff like Chirp over here, right? So yeah, we're gonna be looking to that next. So this is the Plusechain side. Next time around, we're gonna be looking into some other things, including the DeFi Kingdoms, right? DeFi Kingdoms is actually more on the gaming side of things. It's really interesting because it's the same sort of deal as everything we've been looking at. And there's a lot of strategies, yielding strategies and LPing strategies and all that, and you're still making the money and all that. But you're also doing it in a way where you're almost like playing a game, right? So it's going to be absolutely fascinating to really deep dive into DeFi Kingdoms and you know, it's multi-chained at this point. Like usually it's a chain ecosystem that we're looking at, but we're gonna have multiple chains on this one. So yeah, definitely you're gonna want to be watching that one. So any other final thoughts there, guys?
I would say this. I would not say that Chirp Finance is a proven safe place to go.
Not financial advice.
Fux is not a proven safe place. Anything that Richard Hart backed, we feel is much more safer. Pulsex, Plusechain. These other plays we're showing you on Plusechain are great opportunities to make some really good APRs. But like you said, risk reward, just know your appetite. Be careful.
Agree with that.
For sure. All right. Well, let's go ahead and end this here. And yeah, I can tell you right now, DeFi Kingdom is going to be a lot of fun to look into because there's a lot of cool things about it.